That's no moon. It's a space station.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. As you may notice, there is no Aaron with me this evening. Aaron unfortunately had a family emergency and he has to take care of his parents right now. Everything's okay. Aaron's fine, but he just can't be here tonight to join us live, which is unfortunate because Aaron does he knows a lot more about crypto and XRP than I do, but it doesn't matter. We have Jayse here and we have plenty of questions and it's going to be a great conversation. A few things that I want to get out of the way and announce before we actually get started. Let me just double check to make sure we actually went live here. Um, do you see it on your end, Jayse?
Want to check right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're live. Okay. So, a few things before we actually get started. Um, as you know, tickets are available for our conference. If you guys want to come hang out with us in May 12th through the 15th, Grafton, Illinois, Journey to Truth online. That link is below in the description. We have a great lineup this year. We recently added Melissa Morton, Sean David Morton's wife. As we know, Sean just passed away, and his wife has some information that she's been holding on to that Sean has never shared, that she feels like people need to know, and it pertains to the Sands of Time material. So we're really excited about that to see what she has to share with us there. And Zaysan, he is a Plagiarin contactee. He's written 9 books by now, and he has one of the most incredible testimonies I've ever read. And his story just comes straight from the heart. It's a love story. I mean, it literally is about expanding your heart and like communicating with these extraterrestrials in the heart frequency.
Mhm.
And we couldn't be more excited to have him with us. I know a lot of people don't know who he is, but in our opinion, he is like the cherry on top for the event as far as bringing the proper energy that we want at that event. Um, Live stream tickets are available as always. That link is below in the description, journey to truth.online. Also, Hopewell Farm CBD, we are partnering with them, Nancy and Eric. They are, as Lily Nova calls them, a starseed couple that, blesses their product and sets intention and puts intention into it as they grow the plants and package it and bottle it and all the way to your front door. And you can save 15% off all their products with promo code JTT. Thanks. And that actually ends tonight at midnight. So take advantage of that. And one last thing I'm going to share my screen for actually is I am actually going to be hosting a 1 day event in California on February 23rd. I'm emceeing it, hosting it, but it's Mary Beaver. If anybody knows who Mary Beaver is, it's her event. She's a former Army, U.S. Army intelligence something or another. I don't know her exact title, but she is coming forward, blowing the whistle on a bunch of programs she was involved in. She has a stack of documents that she is given permission to start talking about, including a list of 200 extraterrestrial species, their origins, where they're from, obviously their origins, and which ones are here interacting with humanity, a list of stargates, underground bases, and the stargates and which planets they go to, a list of countries that have been intentionally left off our map, including the original Atlantis and some stuff in the South Pacific, like where Jurassic Park might be, the real Jurassic Park. Apparently that half of our planet isn't all water like we think it is. There's some land masses out there that have just been intentionally kept hidden from us. And according to Mary, the reason a lot of the flight patterns don't actually make sense and the flat earthers use it as evidence that the earth is flat, she said it's not because the earth is flat, it's because they're being directed to fly around land masses that aren't supposed to be there, right?
That makes
So,
sense.
yeah. And she has a map of some of that. So she's going to be sharing that type of stuff along with looking glass predictions, a whole number of things. It's going to be a 6 hour day. I'm going to be there just kind of introducing her and talking to the crowd in between breaks and stuff. And you can live stream it for only $15 or you can show up in person for $50. And it's going to be a great deal. And that link is below in the description. I won't share the flyer. I was going to share it, but I think I did enough. Um, Okay, so let's get into XRP and crypto and why we're here. Awesome shirt, by the way.
Thanks,
Um,
brother. First time
yeah,
wearing
right.
it.
So, okay, I guess we're gonna go back to the basics just because there's like this is something we talk about a lot. And I think I finally got my head wrapped around the cryptocurrency and XRP and what's happening with that. But there's a lot of people when I mention it to them, like my cousin, for example, is been in the finances. He's brilliant with finances, but lost when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's a foreign language to him, and he's smart with money. But I try to explain it to him, and he's just like glitching out. I'm like, it's really interesting because people just aren't there yet. Not everybody. So, let's just start off by Jace, you can introduce yourself, and then let's just give the audience an idea of what crypto is, what its role it's going to play as we transition into the future, and how it's going to be applied to everything that we do financially.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, just to give a super brief background on myself, if you guys haven't seen me before, my name is Jayse. I went through my initial spiritual awakening in like 2015, I would say, it was kind of the peak of it. And it was when I was in college. I was going to school for aerospace engineering, and I was finding out about all these black budget programs that were going on. I was waking up to all that and experimenting with psychedelics and opening up my third eye, and it kind of all hit me at once and ended up dropping out of aerospace in my fifth year because I would have had to do a couple more. And kind of went on my own spiritual journey for a little bit, lived in a van with my girlfriend at the time, but now wife, Alexis of Ascension Diaries. Some of you guys might know her. And then we ended up settling in Sedona in 2020, right before COVID. And it was then right around COVID and everything that I really started to get into crypto. And I was pretty opposed to it before 2020. I got a bad vibe about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I kind of just lumped all of crypto into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then somebody, friend of a friend, approached me one day. We were talking about crypto. I was like, it doesn't really vibe with me. They told me about XRP. It was at 17 cents, and that was my big synchronicity, still is. And so I was like, okay, I'll listen, universe. And I went and I bought some, and I was able to turn about $5,000 of an initial investment into about 50 in about 9 months because of the market timing. And I got in right when COVID crashed everything. And so I was like, wow, there's something really to this. And then my guides kept pushing me, okay, it's good that you got some, it's good that you made some money from it, but you should learn why. You need to learn like the reason behind it. So I spent all of 2020 dedicating myself to research, just became my full-time passion. And in 2021, I started coaching other people. I did one-on-one for about a year. And then 2022, I launched the Conscious Crypto Academy, which is my current crypto school with a focus on XRP. And I've been doing that for almost 3 years now. So it's been quite the journey. It's flown by. I've learned a ton, and I never would have thought that teaching other people about crypto would have been the direction of my life because I was not financially oriented at all. So yeah, so to get into what kind of this is all about, was the question, right? Like where is this kind of going with the financial shift right now?
Yeah, okay. So let's actually even take a step further back from that.
Yeah.
Let's explain to people, I know you just kind of did, why XRP stands alone from the
Mhm.
rest, why you think it's actually maybe the next Bitcoin. I mean, maybe that's not the right term to use, but potentially it can do something similar to what Bitcoin did. And
Yeah.
and this is something that I think we always forget to talk about is where's the best place for people to buy XRP?
Yeah. Okay. So what makes just super simply what makes XRP different than Bitcoin? Let's just compare it to Bitcoin because that's the easiest. So Bitcoin, obviously the biggest, crypto out there. It was the first one. It's the most popular. It's the largest right now. The problem with Bitcoin, and I might get some hate from this if there's people out there who really like Bitcoin, but my problem with Bitcoin is it's very slow, it's very expensive to use, and the technology is pretty outdated. So, with kind of any technology, the first of anything is rarely the best. Like the first phone, the first iPhone, the first computer, like those are not what we use today, right? We're using like more advanced versions. So XRP was created by Bitcoin developers who were super pro Bitcoin and realized the faults of it, mainly the speed, how big it could scale, how expensive it was to use. And they went and they made XRP to basically be a better Bitcoin. So XRP is able to transact any amount of money anywhere in the world, 2 to 4 seconds settlement, and for less than a penny in fees. So when you hear about crypto utility, utility is what makes crypto like special and unique, is that it actually serves like a purpose. And so that's what XRP does, is it's this financial settlement tool, whether you're the average person like us and you're just trying to send money to a buddy, or you're making a business payment, small business, or you're a big, bank, government, financial institution, and you're moving millions and billions of dollars. It basically creates that level playing field that we've heard Trump and so many other people talk about, creating that level playing field. It does that within the financial realm. So that's kind of the 101.
Okay, and what's the best place to buy it?
I would say Coinbase is going to be the most popular and probably the easiest. Uphold is another good one. Those are the two main ones that we use. But really, anywhere that you can buy crypto, even Robinhood now, Kraken, crypto.com, pretty much anywhere is going to have it.
Exodus too, right?
Yeah, so you can get it on Exodus. Some of the wallets you can get it on, but the fees tend to be a little more expensive. So
Okay.
that's why we go through the exchange first and then we send it to a wallet. But you can get it on a wallet like Exodus. It's just a little more expensive, and sometimes it doesn't always work with people's banks. So it's a little
Right.
more case
Right.
by case.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I used Uphold if I, I've years ago whenever we set it up. I've just had it because I think Uphold was the only place at one time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So there was the SEC lawsuit. They sued Ripple and XRP, and then pretty much everywhere except Uphold in the United States got rid of availability. So that was the only place. So they're in good with the XRP community for that because they were really the only ones that continued to provide it.
Right. Well, I thought it was amazing because we understood like what was happening with it and getting in at that cheap price was important,
Yeah.
And I follow it, and there's a number of people right now saying, it's up like 250 right now, $2.50 a coin.
Yeah.
Um, People are saying that this might be the cheapest you're ever going to get it again, ever. Like it might, fluctuate in that range, right? But
Yeah.
right now it's like people say it's like getting into Apple before Apple became Apple, or like a big company before it blows up. Would you agree with
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, totally. I think they even likened it. I remember David Schwartz, the guy who made it, likened Ripple as being water, Amazon as being fire because they have the fire thing. I think Apple was air because they have the air products, and then I forgot where Earth was, but they kind of put themselves up there with like these other three big tech companies as the four elements.
Right.
So I think even you can definitely compare it to like Apple or Amazon or Google, but honestly, I think this opportunity is going to be the biggest financial opportunity and possibility to create generational wealth and a redistribution of wealth from, the 1%, 0.1% to basically the masses. I think that XRP and crypto as a whole, but particularly XRP, is going to be the biggest opportunity that humanity's ever seen. And I think this is why so many people like, ourselves, Lily Nova, so many other people, especially psychics, mediums, spiritually tapped in people, are like getting this really strong message that there's a major opportunity with XRP. But a lot of people get that message and they don't know anything about it. So they're like, I don't know if this is legit or not, but like, Spirit told me this and I don't know what to do with it.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about, okay, this is getting ready to, things are getting ready to shift. Inauguration day is coming up, and there is a transition of power occurring right now. Whether people understand it or not, everyone has their own opinions, but there's something happening behind the scenes that I think is really solidifying this golden age timeline, right?
Yep.
And people might want to look at Trump as a dictator because of what he's talking about doing with Canada and Mexico. I don't think people, just take it all at face value. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes, and if you haven't been paying attention for the while, for this whole time, for years, I can understand why it may look negative.
Mhm.
But that is a separate conversation. So what is actually getting ready to occur with Ripple XRP on Inauguration Day? As soon as Trump is in, there's a move being made, and I'll let you explain that. And then we can talk into these other companies and institutions that are going to be getting involved shortly after.
Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing on paper is going to be the full ending of this SEC lawsuit. So basically the SEC, they sued Ripple. Ripple actually won, but the SEC appealed. And so they're in that appeal window still, but people have interviewed people around Trump, and especially because we know Trump is going to be putting in these key pro crypto people into these positions of power. So I think one of them's named David Sachs, another guy. So one of them is going to be the new SEC head. He's super pro crypto and pro Ripple, pro XRP. The crypto czar in the White House, very pro Ripple, pro XRP. So all these positions are shifting. And then when Trump gets in, it's pretty much inevitable that they're going to fully end the appeal for the lawsuit because they're going to have a pro crypto guy in charge of the SEC. So it's pretty much a given. They're gonna end the lawsuit completely. And at that point, that's when there will be full legal, like regulatory clarity, which is really what has been stifling XRP for so long and why there's been this artificial price suppression. Because XRP used to be the number two crypto behind Bitcoin. So it was Bitcoin and then XRP. And that was in 2017, 2018. And that was the last time that Trump got elected, 2017, his first year, um or sorry, 2018. No, yeah, 2017 was the first year. That year XRP was the best performing asset on the planet. It went from less than half of a penny to $3.80, and most of that price action happened in the 2 weeks over New Year's, and that was the last time he came into office, right? So um, that history is there, and crypto repeats fractal patterns. So that's very likely that we're going to get a similar repeat of that fractal. But basically, when they sued the SEC, when the SEC sued Ripple, it created all this fear. They call it FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, within that crypto space. And so all these big institutional partners, like it was revealed recently, somebody said that Bank of America was doing all of their private internal transactions using XRP. But then when the lawsuit happened, they stopped, and out of fear of legal repercussion, all these different groups stopped. And there's a great documentary. I think I might have told you about it. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but did you have you seen it
I,
yet?
I didn't I didn't watch it. You did send it to me though.
So if you guys want to check it out, it's on fruitionproductions.com. It's called Rigged from the Start, the SEC's War on Crypto. And it really, in technical detail, outlines how communist China, JP Morgan, and the SEC got together with the Ethereum Foundation, which is the creator of the Ethereum cryptocurrency, to basically front run Ethereum as the new global, you could say, NWO currency, while simultaneously attacking Ripple and XRP and trying to destroy them permanently. So that happened. They call it ETH Gate. That's the kind of colloquial name. XRP starts going down because of all this fear, all this drama being put into the space, and now that's pretty much going to be over. So it's like the last few years have been this kind of, like sitting in the trenches, like people who have been holding for a while. It was at 50 cents for a long, long time. And then, as you know, in the past couple months, actually, right after I did a show on Lily Nova's show, it started shooting up like crazy synchronistically after that.
Mhm.
So it's gone up like a 5x from there just in the past couple months. And it's not even at previous all-time highs yet, which is $3.80. So investment wise, I think between now and the inauguration, and then especially once he starts signing EOs and stuff, I think crypto in general, but particularly XRP, it's gonna be insane. I think it's gonna change lives for sure.
And actually, isn't somebody stepping down from the SEC on the inauguration day or around
Yeah,
that time?
Yeah, so Gary Gensler, he's the Biden appointed SEC head. Trump said he was going to fire him on day one, but the guy said he's going to resign basically the day before. So, he gets his dignity or whatever. But yeah, he's going to resign the day before. And then Trump has his new, pro crypto pick that's going to take his spot.
And the very fact that the deep state is so anti-XRP tells you everything you need to know. Why was there, why was it rigged from the start? Why was there a lawsuit to begin with. Why? Why? It's like this. As soon as Trump came in, they, along with him getting targeted, so did the XRP and
Yeah.
Ripple. And I think that's for a reason because it threatens the entire financial system. It
Mhm.
decentralizes everything and it puts the money back into our hands and it takes it away from the London stronghold that's had the control of our global finances for decades now,
Yep.
so we get, and I don't understand what's actually going to happen with the traditional stock market. Do you have any insights there? Because we always hear about this economic crash, right? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, so as far as that potential for a what they call like a black swan market crash, which is a black swan is any kind of cataclysmic event, but in terms of crypto and the markets, it's often described as being what might happen before this big transition, before this flip of the switch. I think it's what they used to want to create to be the Great Reset. But like, when's the last time that we even heard anybody talk about the Great Reset? Like, I haven't heard those words in a while, right?
Right.
So part of me feels like that even though there is the possibility that maybe in the next week or maybe in the first week of his inauguration, maybe the deep state's going to try to pull something funny and create a multi-market crash. But I get the feeling personally that that timeline has been averted for the
Hmm.
most part, and that we're on a much more smooth timeline. And I feel like that hit when the assassination attempt happened. When
Right.
that failed to hit, that huge timeline shift happened. And since then, the election was super smooth. Everything has been super smooth. I mean, aside from like LA fires and things like that. But politically, I think it could go a lot smoother than we think.
Yeah, I agree. I would say anything that happens post Trump getting into the office again would be the deep state attempting to do whatever they had planned. It's going to be very minuscule compared to what it would have been had they stayed in power. But
Mhm.
I think that, since we averted the dystopian timeline, in my opinion, I
Yeah.
think that anything that they do after Trump is in, they're going to try to blame on Trump, right? It's going to be the blame game again. Look what look at the world, look what's happening to the world now that he's in power again. I
Yeah.
mean, 100% chance they're going to play that card, I think.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me is we had these fires, which was clearly orchestrated. Direct energy weapons, arsons. I mean, it's literally it fills all the boxes, checks all the boxes for a false flag type of event. It's targeted the billionaires, the very wealthy area, and a lot of people lost their homes. Yes, there are lives that are lost, and it's very tragic. But from a higher perspective, I think the darkest, I think it had a lot of dark energy there. It might have looked beautiful on the surface, but those areas are being purged, and the darker, the areas of the most darkness are being targeted first, right? And you could say that it was to burn evidence. You could say that it was to, um, I mean, there's a number. We can go down that list and talk about the
Yeah.
fires, but I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, I
Well,
thought,
even just like a forest fire is cleansing, right? Like when the
right.
forest burns down in a natural way, it allows all the nutrients to get into the soil and then new life comes. And so it's kind of maybe a similar type of situation.
Yeah, okay. So that's where I was going with it though. So anyway, it was very much I would say a deep state effort, right?
Mhm.
I've heard the theory that it was like a white hat operation to flush people out, maybe. I don't know. Either way, I think it's, multifaceted and probably things happening on other multi dimensions as well. But what happened on January 10th was that Trump was he became officially became a convicted felon. And it
Mhm.
was just charges that were already there, but they were reviewed and decided that yes, this happened, it's official, he's a convicted felon, whatever. But it kind of just like because of the fires, because of their own attack, they got no media attention. The
Yeah.
the Trump thing, and I thought this is ironic because they probably thought they were going to have like a double whammy. The fires, Trump comes out as a felon, we got this, but then it just kind of got swept under the rug because of these fires and everybody seeing right through it. It just
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, supports the theory that I would, they're not done. Um, they're not done. So anyway, back to
Yeah.
the XRP. I want to talk about Oh, hang on. Let me get rid of this troll in the comments.
Wait, while you're doing that, I want to mention one more thing on the Trump kind of Ripple inauguration connection. I just remembered. So, Trump's been having everybody come to Mar-a-Lago, have dinner, right? He's been having white hat, black hat people alike on both sides come to Mar-a-Lago and dine with him, right? So he had Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, and a guy named Stuart Alderoty, who's the head of Ripple's legal department. There was a picture that they posted, the three of them, Trump with them, on X just the other day, and they had dinner together. And what was pretty crazy is not only are the two Ripple guys extremely happy, all three of them, they're like pointing at each other, like thumbs up, like good vibes. It's not like when Trump was with the Pope and the Pope looks like he's dying, from just being around Trump. You could tell, right? You can look at people's body language.
Right.
So they were in a picture together. They ate, they definitely talked about new financial system stuff. But then in the background, if you look behind them, I don't know if you saw this yet, but there's literally a green candlestick behind each of them
I saw that.
on the mantle. And
Yeah,
so
but
that's
what does that mean though to you? Because I
well,
was
green
confused by that.
candles are that's like price appreciation.
Sure.
And
Okay.
so that's what they call it in the
Right.
market. A green candle is, price
Yeah. Yeah.
going up, a red candle is going down. So literally three green candles behind them. And then I don't know if you've seen the meme where they're taking people and putting like a green like bar to see if they're like alpha compared to other people. Like mostly with Trump, they'll take a picture of Trump with somebody else and they'll put this like green thing to see how like upright their posture is.
Oh,
And Trump's
really? Okay.
yeah, Trump's always like upright completely, and then usually everyone else is like leaning into Trump, and it's like demonstrating kind of their submissiveness to Trump.
Right.
So in this photo, all three of them were standing up straight, and David Schwartz, who's the guy who created XRP, he posted it and he said, just three alphas, and he put a green line on each of them, and they're all like standing up. But then that too also looked like a literal green candle on the charts. So I feel like they're doing coded, language going on with this too.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I don't know if this is true, but I think it was just yesterday or whenever, yeah, just yesterday when I made this thumbnail and I put the green candle on the
Yeah.
thumbnail. I saw online that yesterday was the largest candle day, green candle day that we've had since 2017. I don't know if that's true, meaning it is in that short of amount of time that the price increased substantially yesterday.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, they can somebody like pulled up the charts and like the last time this happened, like this big of a spike in this short of amount of time was in 2017. So
Yeah.
I found and I just took a screenshot of that and that's on the thumbnail. So
Nice.
it's kind of cool that we captured that, but it was funny I didn't know that was the case until after the fact. Um, so I was recently at Mar-a-Lago actually too, which
Oh,
was
did you end up going?
well, we didn't get in. You can't get close, but as soon as we got close, the Secret Service was everywhere. They had for I don't know how many mile radius, the streets were, blocked off, and there was, black SUVs, police vehicles, law enforcement everywhere. And the closer you got, the heavier it was. And we started walking across the bridge to get to Mar-a-Lago, and there was guys in boats with AKs, and the boat like starts coming right up to us, like as we're walking over the bridge, and the cop gets out of his car and he's like, "Can I help you?" And like, "Oh, we're just, looking." He's like, "Well, you can't go any further than those cones. You can walk to the cones and turn around and walk back, but don't stop." And we're like, "Oh, gee, okay." And it was like crazy high alert security. It was like the New Year's Eve party or whatever. And apparently we didn't even realize this, but Elon was there too. So
Oh, gee.
Trump and Elon were there at the same time. That makes a lot of sense. But it was really interesting that we even got that close. It was just kind of a cool, moment. That
Yeah.
was that little side note. But
I'm glad they're taking security that seriously. I'm
uh,
glad it's
yeah, no,
like,
it was exactly what you would expect for
yeah,
somebody like presidential security and some.
yeah,
It was kind of
right.
like this is over the top, but I understand it now. And so
Yeah.
that's nice to know. But the something I wanted to bring up earlier and I forgot to is the precautions around fraud and crypto fraud
Yeah.
because some people, there's a ton of scammers out there, and a lot of people take the bait, especially older people who aren't familiar with it. Can we get into that a little bit and like, help
Yeah.
people navigate that and figure out what's safe and what's not?
Yeah. So I guess the most general thing to say off the bat is don't trust anybody that you don't know. It seems like an obvious thing, but I've heard so many stories where people will get a DM from somebody they don't know on Telegram or WhatsApp or something, Instagram, and end up sending their crypto to this person they don't know because they're telling them whatever. So one of the big scams is that you need to put your crypto in a QFS wallet. Okay, so QFS being quantum financial system, that's kind of the buzzword given to the new financial system we're moving into. And there is legitimacy to that, but there's no literal thing called a QFS wallet or a QFS account. So if you have anybody reaching out to you that tells you that you need to put it in a QFS secured account or that says you need to secure your crypto by doing this with it, scam. Always going to be a scam. So, really, be vigilant, stay discerning. Even people that you think you know, there's impersonator accounts. I'm pretty sure we've both had
Right.
accounts impersonating us, right? Pretty much anybody who's putting themselves out online now is at some point going to get an impersonator account. So they look like us, they have our usernames, they talk like us. But unless you don't know, like unless you know, you trust the person. So always vet who you're talking to. That's why it pays to have a coach or a community or a group so that you can go and check in. Like people in our academy, they can come to me and be like, "Hey, this weird person's talking to me. Is this real? Is this fake? Scam, not scam?" And then, I can help them out. Another big scam is, and this is one that is honestly prolific in that there are sponsored ads, official ads on YouTube and on X of fake XRP airdrops. So basically, there will be a real ad you'll get before a YouTube video or on your X feed that says it's usually an AI Elon or an AI Brad Garlinghouse with fake, they redo the audio and everything, but they use a real video. And it's usually like, oh, Elon or Brad is doing a one-to-one XRP airdrop. Send in your XRP to this address and you'll get sent back double in the next hour. All that's fake. It's not real. Don't never send your crypto out to anybody. That's pretty much the golden rule. Unless you know the person, you trust them, it's a business transaction or something like that. You're donating, but otherwise, do not send your crypto to anybody. That kind of covers all the bases.
Pretty much, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. You're
Yeah.
not just gonna like reply to somebody's X comment and then become a millionaire. Like,
Yeah.
just doesn't happen like that. So, what is this? Bot Boost has rated this stream. I don't know what that means. I've never seen that in the comments before.
Huh.
Okay, so you, I don't even remember now in general what you talked about, but you talked about, do you remember when I had you repost that thread that you did on Instagram, that video where you were talking about, um,
Yeah.
do you remember what exactly you were talking about in that video as far as how XRP was going to be used by some of these institutions? And I
Mhm.
don't remember exactly what you went into, but I wish I would have watched it again before this, but maybe you can get into that if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was talking about the price appreciation of XRP and what would actually drive it to be crazy high numbers in the tens of thousands potentially. And I think I was also talking about like the liquidity drying up, like the public supply going down.
Yeah, that's what it
So that's
was. And you were explaining why, like because people don't understand like what the market caps like it just doesn't make sense to a lot of people how these price projections for XRP could actually be that high based on what they're looking at in the actual market. And you were kind of explaining how it can surpass that and why that's possible.
yeah. Okay. So basically, if you talk to the average person who does not invest or like XRP, who is a crypto guy, say it's a Bitcoin person or whatever, the average person outside of XRP thinks XRP could go to 10, 20, $100, but anything beyond that tends to get into an area where people think it's impossible or unfathomable, especially when you start talking about it going into the thousands of dollars per coin or tens of thousands per dollars, which I think is extremely possible. And so the situation where that could happen is basically okay, so going back to what we were talking about in the beginning, the utility of XRP is that it's this payment mechanism. It's used for payments. It's got a utility within itself that Bitcoin and other cryptos don't have, which is that it's pretty much instant and it's free to use, which is where you get like quantum financial system. That's kind of the idea that, they call it the internet of value, where value should be as liquid and as easy to move around and as instant as information on the internet is, but with money. So you should be able to send money by like sending a text, and it should be that easy. So basically, these institutions, these big banks, these governments, they're going to want to have as much XRP as possible, because the more that they have, not even from an investment standpoint, but just from a settlement standpoint, there's these things called Nostro Vostro accounts. And the current way that the cross-border payment settlement system works is something called the SWIFT system that was built in the 70s by the banks, and it's basically how the banks siphon it's kind of like a parasite within the economy itself. It's how they siphon the energy out of it. So this whole 3 to 5 day transfer, window, 3 to 5 business days to get a wire through or a bank payment, they use all that friction in the financial system to leverage out your money and make more money on it and parasite from the system. So that's what XRP and Ripple do, is they basically cut out that need for them to profit off of your money in the banking system. And so the banks are going to be forced to use this if they want to stick around. It's like I said, it's putting everybody on a level playing field, but they're going to need this if they want to stay around and provide certain like actual services to the people. So they're going to want to hold as much XRP as possible. And so the amount of XRP that is even available now on the public exchanges like Coinbase, Uphold, crypto.com is drying up. They say the liquidity is drying up. What's there is going away. So last I heard, there was of the total, there's just under 100 billion XRP total. And I heard that between 2 and 3 billion of the 100 is actually in circulation between people like us and exchanges. The rest is being held by Ripple and by financial institutions and governments and things of the like. So there's going to be a point where that public supply becomes so small, because not only are we buying it up, but Ripple and financial institutions are going to the free market where we're going and also buying XRP off the free market, which is pretty crazy to think about, because that literally means there will not be much left in the next few years for the average person. So supply and demand, when the supply is super low, the demand is going to get insanely high. And that's where market cap, this is where the naysayers will say, okay, a $10,000 XRP would be like in the trillions or quadrillions of dollars market cap. And you could make a case that that amount of money is there and could flow into the market. But what people don't understand is that in crypto, market cap means nothing, meaning something could have $100 quadrillion market cap, and it doesn't actually need that amount of money to flow into the market. So to give an example, you could go create your own crypto today, and you could call it Journey to Truth coin, and you could make the supply of that coin 10 trillion coins. And if you sell that first coin for $1, say I buy that first coin, I pay $1. $1 times 10 trillion supply automatically makes it a $10 trillion market cap, even though only $1 flowed in. So it shows you it's kind of a meaningless metric. And that's what people get hung up on when they say it's impossible. All that's really required is that those that hold it don't want to sell beneath a certain price. So if these banks and governments and institutions need their XRP for cross-border payments, which they will, they're never going to put it on the open market. And so what is put on the open market not only will be so small, but people are just not going to want to sell beneath a certain price floor. And so all that needs to happen is that demand is there, that the average bank average holder not sell beneath a certain amount, 10,000, 50,000, whatever, and then the price will be there. And you don't actually need that crazy market cap to flow in like you would think that you need. Does that make sense?
Right. But there also seems to be like how would a company why would they feel safe moving money around in XRP unless there was enough in the market cap to actually keep it as a stable coin? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, is it something that, well, do you understand what I'm saying by that?
Like the volatility of it?
Yeah, I guess like there would need to be enough in XRP for these big institutions to actually be making moves with it because they're going to be moving large sums of money, I would understand. I would imagine, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So that's the other part of it. Thank you for bringing that up. So basically, in order for financial or country, say country A to move money to country B, and then that be happening all around the planet between different banks. That's billions, if not trillions of dollars moving in and out of this market every day because XRP is set up to be this bridge currency. So it's going to not compete with the US dollar, but actually enable it. It's going to enable and support every form of value out there and connect it all and make it liquid, which is another big difference between it and Bitcoin, whereas Bitcoin is kind of trying to replace the dollar and replace gold in a lot of ways. XRP empowers every form of value. So, in order for trillions of dollars potentially to be moving in and out of XRP every day and not have the markets swing up and down like crazy volatile, the price of it needs to be so high that trillions of dollars could move in and move out, and the market doesn't even budge. So,
Right.
it needs to be stable at a super high price in order to facilitate that. And the higher the price, basically, the better it works.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was asking. Thank you. So it makes perfect sense to me. So it would support the theory that it is going to reach those higher price points
Mhm.
if all these companies are going to get involved, which I think they are. I mean, if you look behind the scenes, a lot of moves are being made with XRP that people don't really understand are happening. And even I don't even know if people realize it. Didn't XRP, I mean Ripple, donate like 5 million XRP to the Trump campaign, or to Trump himself, like a month ago?
So yeah, yeah, for the inauguration they did. Yep.
Yeah. So making him like effectively the largest holder of XRP, like currently, I think that's what they
It
said.
might be. I don't know. I haven't heard that specifically,
It
but
said, I mean, in the article I read, that's what it said. Like it effectively made
yeah,
Trump like the largest holder of XRP.
that's
Um,
pretty crazy.
But I mean, I don't know how many people actually know that that happened. That's what I'm saying. Like moves are being made all the time that would like why would they even be making transactions like that unless they didn't
Yeah.
know that there was something major about to happen?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely know and they definitely support Trump, at least Ripple, the majority of Ripple, because not only did that happen, but they've met with Trump several times. I think both while he was president 2 terms ago and then during the last 4 years, I believe they met with him. And then, of course, recently. But then also on their monthly escrow release. So every month they release a little from the escrow for expenses and they put it back in, but they put a note on it sometimes and it's on the blockchain so anybody can go and read the note. I wish I had pulled it up, but the most recent one was basically a very pro-Trump statement that was like Trump is coming back, the crypto president is here, like things are going to be great over the next few years. So yeah, they're very on Team Trump.
Right. Yeah, I just think even, aside from Trump though, I feel like I think there's moves being made that I think they're all waiting until, like you said, the lawsuit settles. It's like everybody's at the gate getting ready to make a
Yeah.
move or do something. And when it's finally safe, I think we're going to see a major price push. And
Yeah.
I hope that even things like silver, like become, silver is artificially suppressed as well. And it doesn't make any sense. And, I have my friend who works at a coin and jeweler shop, and he said, it's hard for him to even get silver anymore. He can get gold all day long, but the demand is so high for silver. He said it should be skyrocketing right now, and it's just not moving. He goes, it's so, and he's not like a big conspiracy theorist like us, but he's like, it's so artificially suppressed right now. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. And so that's why silver is smart to invest in because there's actually there's room for it to move as opposed to gold, which is, it's worth a lot, but it's not a good investment if you're looking to make money off of it. So
Right.
I hope that something happens with silver and
I
Trump's
think it,
DJT,
yeah.
Trump stock. It was Digital World Acquisitions Company. Now it's DJT. And I think I would expect that something might even happen with that once he's inaugurated. So I think there's a lot of movement that's going to occur.
And you talked earlier when you were talking about stocks, I forgot to mention that part of the direction that this is going is that stocks are going to be tokenized on the blockchain. So in the near future, and this is actually part of what I'm invested in in our Conscious Crypto Academy, one of the projects that we're invested in is it's called a layer two on XRP, meaning it's built on XRP. This one's called Sologenic, but what they're doing is they're tokenizing stocks, gold, silver, oil, natural resources, any form of value. It's going to be brought onto the blockchain, and this is going to be the future for everything, where every form of value will be tokenized. It will be represented by a digital unit that can be traded, can be sent easily, and will represent a physical asset in the real world. And they call those real world assets, RWAs. So stock market, gold and silver, it's all going to be complemented and enhanced through blockchain, basically.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he told me that if something happened with silver and it was worth its true value, it could be up there with gold or even surpass it. Like the fact
Yeah.
that may never happen, but it should because silver is used in our cell phones, it's used in technologies, it's used everywhere, and there's actually a much more of a demand for it than gold. And if you really get
Yep.
in, if you go down that rabbit hole, gold is actually abundant on our planet. It's not a rare metal, right?
Well, that's my thoughts about precious metals too in the long run. That, I mean, you and I already know there's probably replicating technology out there, meaning they can print gold, they can print silver.
Or alchemy.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, exactly. They were doing this in ancient times. It's in the history books, yeah, with Mercury, with the Nazis and the Deglocking UFOs when, they were trying to make these anti-gravity craft and the Mercury kept turning into solid gold when they were doing it.
Right.
So like it makes me think, especially as we start mining asteroids and, even China the other day I saw discovered $30 trillion in gold in a cave that they just came upon a cave. Maybe that was them printing the gold. But either way, I do think that gold and silver are going to be great assets and will, bring people wealth. But also in the long term, I wonder what about the inflation of those two? And when we get to a point where it is disclosed that we have replication technology that can 3D print anything, and there's no more scarcity of resources. You have all the food, all the water, all the housing, like it's all there. That's when I feel like crypto really makes sense even more than it does now because it gives a unit of measurement to value with artificial scarcity in a good way that will allow us to trade time and energy and services. Because when goods and resources, when you no longer have those as a store of value, like what are you going to do? There's got to be, you could trade services for services, but crypto will give us a way to kind of put a value on that and be able to still have a like a barter and trading economy when we have unlimited resources. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think, and ultimately, if we're going to go way into the future, we hear about like Lemurian times and stuff where there was no monetary system. Everything was just, handshakes and barter, barter. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is a stepping stone for, it depends on, I guess this would really get into the topic of timelines and which timeline you're on and what it looks like for you. It depends on, where your soul ends up going. But eventually I think we're going to get to some sort of a true golden age where we're like in harmony with the planet and like in peace with each
Yeah.
other. And, if you really think about money in general, like it kind of doesn't make any sense. Like everything's like this, everything is just hilarious when I'm like, you actually can just make that right now. It doesn't cost anything, but people think they need
Yeah.
money, so it costs money. Um,
Yeah.
I know that's a like it's so much easier for a star seed to see that than anybody who's like an
Yeah.
accountant. They're like, no, you need money.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
get you. And I do feel like given enough time in our conscious evolution and through the densities, I do wonder myself, like at what dimension or what density money truly becomes irrelevant. Like I wonder just personally, maybe what is the highest civilization out there, density or dimension wise, that still uses a monetary system? Because the impression I get is that there's both. There's obviously like more Lemurian, non like highly spiritual, non-technical type of civilizations who evolve that way with never needing a monetary system. And then I think there's probably other groups like maybe Pleiadian groups or others that use a lot more technology that maybe do still use a financial system, but different than what we would interpret it.
mhm.
Because I assume things probably evolve over time. But yeah, eventually, you get back to the creator and the creator itself doesn't, have money or anything like that. So
Right. I mean, obviously, like they say, money is the root of all evil. And obviously, like the Babylonian money magic, all that's real, and it does keep us in this slave system and we perpetuate it and whatever. That whole system is a scam, and that's what we're
yeah,
breaking free from. And it's gonna be it's gonna be a drawn out process. I don't think it's gonna be like a flip switch. I think a switch is being flipped, but the effects of that, the results of that are gonna slowly trickle into our reality as people understand what's actually going on.
yeah. And I was talking to a new client yesterday, and he was a pretty wealthy guy, I imagine, like entrepreneur, owned multiple businesses, seemed like, he was a wealthy guy. And he said, we were talking about this kind of thing too, and he was like, a lot of people think that money corrupts absolutely. And he's like, but it's not the case. He's like, it just makes you more of whatever you are. So if you are a person that is of the dark and wants to control and wants to oppress, money's going to enable you to do that. But if you're a person that wants to serve others and wants to free others and wants to create like a more beautiful humanity, money can help you do that too. And that was kind of the restructuring that I had in my own mental attitude towards money a couple years ago, because I was also just kind of under the impression that like money was just bad. Like money is just, but then I saw it differently as just another kind of energy. And it's just the energy of the material of this reality. And so just like it's been used to corrupt us and, this whole Babylonian money magic system, the slavery that they've done with it, it can undo all that. And like you said, like a stepping stone to maybe one day never needing money. But I think that we also need to undo the knot that's been done.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the never needing money probably won't happen in our lifetime. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm saying eventually, like, I think we all have our part of that soul, or part of our soul remembers a time when that was the case.
Yeah.
We all have it within us, because
Or
it's
even when you die, like when you die and you go, there's
right,
no money in the astral realm, and that's
right,
every lifetime.
or it is there, and is that the big
Maybe.
surprise? Right,
Yeah, right. You
right,
get there and you're like, dang, my bank
right,
account's empty. What the heck?
right. Yeah, sorry, right. You gotta pay to get into heaven. Um,
That would be horrible.
yeah, right. We've all been scammed.
Yeah.
Um, so what other coins? I see people talking about other coins in the chat. Like, okay, aside from XRP, I know there's some related to XRP, XLM, HBAR. I mean, there's some other coins that people could invest in as well. Maybe we can get into some of those and which ones you would recommend.
Yeah, for sure. And just real quick, someone asked where they can find my crypto
Oh
academy.
yeah,
It's
I
in
was going to ask you about that. Yeah, it's in the description, but yeah, tell everybody about that and what you do also.
Yeah, so I'll tie that in with this because it's all related to the other coins. So basically, at my crypto academy, Conscious Crypto Academy, we teach you everything from the basics. So it's really geared toward people who are both brand new, no experience, and people who have some experience. Maybe you've got some crypto, but you don't know what to do with it now. Um, but yeah, we do weekly coaching calls. We have a core course material with technical tutorials and everything. So it really walks you through like how to understand the whole space and then showing you how to do each step of the process with the wallets and generating passive income. There's a lot to it, but we focus on getting into your question. XRP is the main focus, but we focus on the ecosystem or the family of cryptocurrencies that are connected to XRP. So there's something that's called ISO 20022. And this is a new international financial messaging standard for all types of payments, particularly between banks and financial institutions and governments. So ISO is the International Standard Organization. You know, they make all the standardized stuff, and this one is particularly for payments. So the cryptocurrencies that we focus on are the ones that are compliant with this ISO 20022 standard. And the way I explain it to people is I see these cryptos, and I'll list a couple of them in a second, as being the ones that are transmuting and shifting the financial system from the inside out rather than trying to go to war with it and take it head on. And that's kind of how I see Bitcoin and Ethereum as kind of trying to replace the financial system, like going to war with it, telling you you don't need the dollar, you don't need gold. Bitcoin does everything. It's all you need. And instead, I think what we're going to have and what should be is an ecosystem of different currencies, not one that rules them all, but a level playing field. And ones that are shifting the financial system from the inside out. So I liken it to being like the shadow of our ego, basically, where, when it comes to shadow work and personal spiritual work, generally, I think most people agree you don't want to go to war with your shadow. You don't want to take out the guns and the swords and like try to just kill your shadow, right? It's just going to end in you're going to be traumatized and it's not a healthy healing
Right.
practice. You want to work with the shadow, you want to heal it, integrate it, really work with it. And I feel the same thing with the financial system, that these are basically addressing the shadow of the financial system, all the corruption, the magic, the wrongdoing, and shifting it and alchemizing it from the inside out instead of just trying to replace it head on or convince people to get rid of the dollar. So XRP is the main one. XLM is kind of the sister coin to XRP. And then we focus on a number of smaller market cap cryptos that not as many people have heard about, but they're all connected to XRP or funded by Ripple. So that would be Sologenic. That's the one that we were talking about, tokenizing stocks on XRP. Corium is the same people as Sologenic, and that's our big passive income maker. So that one you can stake for over 25% annual rewards, compounding interest, way more than you'd ever get in the bank at like a few percent in the bank or dividends from stocks or whatever. And then Stronghold is another big one of my favorites. That's actually my second favorite behind XRP because it's so undervalued and underrated. And you can't get a lot of these ones on the big exchanges yet. So for people listening, part of our method in our academy is that we're going for not only these ISO approved cryptos, these XRP connected cryptos, but ones that are not yet listed on Coinbase or Uphold or crypto.com. And so what that means is you need to go through a roundabout method to acquire them. I've heard it referred to as like the public market and the private market. So if you can get these assets on the private market before they get listed on the public platforms, that's when more eyes are on them. That's when more money's flowing in, and you can get a good amount of profit and gains from getting early on those projects. So yeah, XRP, XLM, Stronghold, Solo, Corium,
What about H bar?
Flare. H bar is in there, but I've never been a fan of H bar personally. I've not. So part of my method is I have like I try to find a balance of feminine and masculine with it. So in terms of where I'm looking and what I'm investing in. So on the feminine side, I listen to my intuition and my guidance, and on the masculine side, I do the research, connect the dots, and when they're in harmony, then that's how I know it's a good pick for me. H bar has the masculine side. The dots are all there, but it hasn't resonated with me. And I think part of the reason is that it's governed by the world's largest corporations like Boeing, LG, and Google. They control it.
Right.
And it's technically not even a blockchain. It's technically a more private technology
Right.
that allows them to keep more privacy for those big corporations while not having the full transparency about what they're doing that the blockchain would have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you could have stopped at Google.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. So, okay,
Yeah.
you let's talk about blockchain.
Yeah.
Let's paint a picture. Power goes out on the whole planet. EMP
Mhm.
hits the planet, solar flare, whatever. Internet goes down, power goes down, all your crypto accounts go down. Where does blockchain come in and how does it keep XRP safe when that happens?
So first off, if we do have a crazy solar flare, like Carrington level event, and it truly sends us back to the Stone Age, like no electricity, no
It
computers,
won't matter anyway. Yeah.
and we
Money.
got bigger fish to fry at that point.
Right.
Like
Right.
we got to survive, and like, that's where, I don't think that's gonna happen like that. I just don't feel that. But if it does, maybe that's where having some cash and stuff would come in handy, or gold and silver, obviously.
Right. That's like
Uh,
it's like the dystopian like barter tokens. Like that's when
yeah.
silver would come in handy, you know.
Yeah. So your crypto is obviously not going to work if there's no electricity anywhere in the world, but it can still come back if the electricity comes back. So it's not like it's wiped, deleted. And the way that works is, unlike a Facebook or Google server, where if that server is destroyed in that one city at that campus, all that data is gone. You could just, destroy a physical server. With blockchain, it's distributed across the whole planet. So anybody can run a node or a server on a blockchain and contribute to that like collective consciousness basically. And that's kind of honestly what it is it's like neurons in the brain where no one neuron controls the whole brain. You could have neurons die, you can have neurons regrow, and your consciousness is still going to be there, right? Especially if they regrow. Um, and in the same respect, there are XRP and other crypto validator nodes, of course, on the surface in people's houses and stuff, but also on satellites in space and in military bunkers underground and nuclear bunkers. So as long as one of those nodes survives, it'd be like if one neuron of your brain survived, although I don't think the brain can regrow itself from one neuron. But in the blockchain, it could do that, where as long as one of those nodes survives, even if the electricity's gone, when the power comes back on, the data will be repopulated to the whole system, like channeling consciousness, and the money will be back at that point. So,
Yeah, thank you for that because that is a big question. I see a lot of people have that, like my dad, boomer, doesn't know anything about it. I don't
mhm.
trust that digital stuff. What if I lose my phone? What if the power goes out?
Yeah.
Which, if you lose your phone or anything, any way you can access the exchanges, that's when the hard wallets come into play, which we didn't talk about. Maybe you can talk about that, and the importance of the hard wallet and which one you recommend. And
Yeah. So this is a hard wallet here. This is a Ledger Nano. I think it's the same brand you got too.
yeah, same I have.
And that's the most popular brand of crypto wallet. There's different shapes and sizes, but they're all generally around this big. And basically, the idea is this is the most sovereign place that you can store wealth in the digital realm. Obviously, gold and silver in the physical realm, super sovereign. Unless someone's going to come and physically take it from you, it's yours, right? We need that equivalent in the digital realm because right now, as we've seen, the Trump family, Kanye, tons of people getting their bank accounts banned, frozen, assets, well, assets seized as that's a different thing in terms of the EOs, but like the average person being censored financially. My biggest example I use is the Canadian trucker rally. So a couple years ago, when all those Canadian truckers were trying to get from the East Coast to the West Coast, or sorry, from the West Coast to the East Coast, from like Alberta to Ontario to you know protest
Right.
at the Capitol. I think it was during lockdowns. What the Canadian government did is they went and they shut down everybody's bank accounts, everybody's PayPal's, everybody's any financial service, even Coinbase, Uphold, Crypto.com, the crypto exchanges. So the only thing that the government couldn't shut down was private crypto wallets. So that was the only way that these truckers were able to do commerce remotely. So if they were trying to send a buddy gas money, two provinces over in Canada, they couldn't use any of their normal accounts. So they had to use private crypto wallets. So that was one of the big things that drew me to it too, because this was around the same time that I know you guys got banned from certain financial services. So
Mhm.
many, YouTubers, truthers were getting their PayPal's banned, getting these different platforms just taken from them. And I was like, man, that's so messed up. Like we really need a place in the digital realm where you can be confident that Big Brother can't stick their hand in your pocket and just take what they think is rightfully theirs.
Right.
And that's what crypto wallets do. It basically makes it
It's
your own.
it's something that you could put in your safe at home and
Mhm.
keep safe with your gold and silver and cash or whatever else you have there.
Yep.
And it makes perfect sense. And you don't want, there's a number of other reasons. Um, like you said, like I said, if you lose, not if they shut it down, but also like if you lose something else, like your devices or whatever happens, and like that you have your crypto there. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you have your passwords and everything on the hard wallet, and you don't have to rely on your phone to access
Yeah.
your money, you know?
Or if you're fleeing a country and you're an immigrant or whatever, your government's hostile and you're trying to get out, if you had a bank account, you'd be kind of screwed in trying to get that to whatever new country in their bank account. But with a crypto wallet, like you said, you just take it with you. Take it with you with your passport and your
Hmm.
socks and underwear, and you're good to go.
Right, right. Um, you know, and there was something else I was going to ask you. Oh, I wanted to talk about the actual traditional stock market too. I don't like you almost hear as far as our generation goes, I don't hear anyone actually talking about investing in the stock market traditionally. Um, It to me, when I have such a bad relationship with it and Wall Street, I feel like at a soul level, I understand that it was created by the demons, the Satanists, right? Like it
Yeah.
is the enemy. So I don't even want to be dancing with the devil whenever I put my money into the stock market. Now, that being said, I did like 4 years ago put money into the DJT, the Trump's stock,
Yeah.
which we can talk about in a minute because I do think that one is interesting. And that's, I plan on pulling out, but I think that ultimately we don't hear, like, I don't get on X, I don't see anyone talking about the traditional stock market. Like, it's just like old news, old hat. I think energetically it's losing steam and it's just a sign of the times. So, I mean, I wouldn't tell anybody what to do, but I feel like you would be better off pulling your money out of the traditional market and investing money into these cryptos, right? And the XRP or whatever. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I own zero stocks, so I totally agree with that. And I think especially if there's a black swan event or some kind of, you know, I don't want to call it great reset, but if something happens on that level, I think stocks are going to be hit more than anything else.
Right. Well, and obviously, like the whales can still play their game over there. I don't think they can play that game with crypto because it's more of a sovereign, decentralized coin, or XRP is anyway.
Yeah.
Bitcoin might be a different story. And
Yeah.
I think, who was it that said if you knew what was behind Bitcoin, you would pull your money out immediately?
Yeah. Dude, I forget his name, but it's that
I don't remember his name
kind of a
either.
cranky old guy,
Yeah,
but like
somebody with
Larry,
the, I don't, what did you say?
maybe like Larry something or
Yeah,
other.
maybe. Anyway, it was just interesting. It was somebody basically who knew something that we didn't. And he was like, if you knew what was
Yeah.
really behind crypto, you would pull out in a second.
Bitcoin. Yeah,
I
Bitcoin in
mean,
particular.
Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And he was kind of insinuating it was like maybe like a Jeffrey Epstein or someone connected to the intelligence agencies at the very least.
right, it was like some horrific people that are backing that. So energetically, you don't want to be tied to it anyway, is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
yeah, financially, yeah, there's still moves to be made in the market and other coins, Bitcoin. Yeah, like it can be lucrative if you know what you're doing, but energetically, like if you want to align yourself with something that's actually going to bring planetary abundance, I think XRP and
Yeah.
anything, on Ripple is the way to go. And abundance in general is an interesting conversation because I quit my job, my 40-hour job in 2020,
Yeah.
and I've, doing this full time. I was in construction and I had to, get into side work and all kinds of stuff until I finally figured out a way to kind of just trust the universe. Immediately, I was looking for something to replace my income that I just walked away from.
Yeah.
And I kept getting a message like, no, take this time to heal and all this stuff. and I just kind of surrendered. I got to a point where I had to surrender because it's a very scary moment to take that leap. But then I noticed that things were happening, and like money was coming in weird ways, and somehow I don't even know how to describe it. When you start getting into that flow and you just trust the universe and understand what abundance really means, and it has nothing to do with money actually, and it's about a way that you live your life. Things flow and you'll be good. You'll be good and protected. And obviously I'm not trying to like take away from investing in anything like XRP or anything, but just as an from an energetic stance, I think allowing aligning yourself with something that you know is going to serve humanity is is like a good first step towards receiving abundance, and it's showing up in your life in ways that you can't really expect because you're doing it for the right reason and not for some personal gain. And maybe we can talk about why investing in XRP is really a global effort to like liberate us, right?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have anything else to say before I jump in?
No, no, go ahead.
So building off what you're saying, 2020, that was the same year for me that this all happened, that basically I was um, on unemployment at the time and was trying to figure out like the direction I was going to go financially and providing for myself. And that's when I got into all this and that really started taking off. So same year, which is really interesting that you quit
Hmm.
your job and did this full time. And I noticed as well that there was a profound energetic shift with the way that I was interacting with my finances. And personally, the way that I experienced it was it felt like that when I started leaving the Babylonian money magic system, meaning I was holding the majority of my personal wealth in XRP and in crypto instead of in the bank, which is what I still do today. I hold bare minimum operating expenses in the bank. Everything for me is in crypto. And when I committed to that, I felt like, and my buddy Zach of the Zen Lounge, I think we did a video together years ago. Now that
Yeah,
I
we
think
did.
about it,
Hmm.
he's the one that first said this, that it clicked for me, but that there was a palpable, tangible, energetic shift in switching financial systems. That when you took your value out of the Babylonian money magic system and put it in this new, what I would call like the new earth financial system, it's like everything else in the reality shifted to create a more abundant situation. So similar to what you're describing, and
Hmm.
maybe it's a bigger phenomenon than that, but that's just my lens of how I experienced it. But really, there was like a change where it seemed like opportunities were more abundant. Things were just more in flow, working out more. It was less frictiony and less like, feeling oppressed and trying to cut a way out for yourself financially like it can be in the traditional system.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't make sense to the people who are still trapped in that system whenever they see somebody thriving who left all of it and it's not working a full-time job, and I can't even explain it to somebody. It takes a true like you need to experience some sort of a catalyst, hit rock bottom, leave whatever it is that has to happen in your life for you to be forced to understand that you need to make a change if you want to like go where we're going.
Mhm.
Um, that's whenever like it happens for you and that's when you can see it, but until that happens, like you just literally don't see it. It doesn't make sense to you, right? And you're like, no, I really don't, like I don't need health insurance. You don't understand, you don't actually need it because there's like all like you don't need all these things you've been told that you need.
Yeah.
And it's just and people who are so in that program, they actually get mad whenever you tell them that you don't need it. Like they have a whole list of reasons that make sense on paper why you need to be invested in all these things in order to survive. But I'm like, actually, no. Like the whole thing is a ruse, you
Yeah,
know?
it's their own fears that are like then
Right,
projecting out onto you and being
right.
like, "Well, what about this? What about this?"
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I want to talk about really quick, and somebody said until crypto is fully accepted. Yeah. Um, Once leaving the system, you will feel free. It's true. It's scary, but it's the scary moves that you see the most growth, where you see the
Yeah,
most growth.
it's
Like
true.
if you're like presented with a couple options and one's really scary and risky, that's probably the way you should, that's probably the way to go because, life begins outside your comfort zone and, can be, comfort might as well be evil. You know what I'm saying? You get stuck in that energetic pattern of your comfort zone, you'll never get out because you're so comfortable. I got it made here, but you're not living life anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to leave St. Louis and just break free from, my roots here. And like I can see, like in this case, the grass is greener on the other. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much more. I've traveled enough to know that St. Louis isn't the place to be.
Yeah.
So I want to go explore.
That's
Um,
exciting. I'm happy for you.
right. Yeah, me too. Okay, so the
I know
Trump,
you want to talk about the spiritual side of it too. I don't know if you want to, you had asked that before. I didn't fully
the
get into
spiritual
that.
side of what?
Of like crypto and XRP and the direction I think you were mentioning in
Yeah, go
like
for it. Yeah,
and
go
or if
for
you
it.
want to. Okay. Well, I don't want to throw off what you were going to ask
Oh
though.
no, it wasn't important. I just wanted to kind of help people understand what the DJT stock in the traditional
Oh.
market actually is for anyone interested, because to me that is the most interesting one to even follow or be a part of if you are going to invest in the traditional market. So
Yeah.
I have stock in that, and I was just going to explain to people. But let's talk about the other stuff, and then I can talk about that later.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, so basically I feel like we've talked about a lot of the tangible side of it, like the price potential and the markets and settlements and banks and stuff. But I feel like the other side of this that I know you and I have talked about a lot and we talked about on the show with Patrick, but maybe some people haven't heard this side of it yet, but the spiritual shift side of it and the phenomena as I touched on a little bit earlier of so many people feeling guided to this, especially in the spiritual realm and why that's happening. And I think I mean, my personal conclusion and theory is that basically crypto and XRP in particular is on the spiritual realm going to be a way that activated souls, whether you identify as a star seed or just a conscious awakened being, whatever label, but for those who have missions to service humanity, who came here with particular missions, I believe it's going to be the way that God is allowing us to fund those missions because so many of the things that we need to do on the planet are going to take money right now
Yep.
to build the infrastructure, to pay the right people to do the right jobs, to build healing centers, to build schools, to build new earth cities. Even Trump talking about these freedom cities that he's building, I think is kind of the beginning of, what we could call like what Rion, for instance, calls the cities of light, New Earth cities. So I think that there's a very particular reason that so many people are feeling called to this. And I've had people tell me all sorts of crazy stories of some people, it's more of just a general guidance. Like I just felt guided toward XRP and I couldn't explain it. Other people, one lady literally told me she had a dream that an ET came to her in the dream, like a glowing, I think, golden ET. And it was like, buy XRP. You need to buy XRP. And it even told her to come to me for help. It was like, go to Jason, he'll help you.
Mhm.
And that like blew my mind. And I've heard so many crazy stories like that where, Lily started talking about it on her channel, Lily Nova.
Didn't
Um,
Kim Clemens make a prediction about it?
yeah, Kim Clement. Is that
Yeah,
what that's
Clement. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, something like
so
that.
yeah, he and I wasn't familiar with him before this, but now I am. But if you haven't heard of him, I guess he was like a prophetic.
Yeah, he predicted Trump. He predicted a few different things, and also XRP particularly, right?
Yeah, so he said in the clip, and you can find this online, but he said, um, I've seen this vision that there's going to be this very important thing that changes everything for the better, I think he said. And he said, it starts with an X and it ends with a P. And he's like, and I don't know what's in the middle. He's like, it might be a number, it might be a letter or something. But he's like, it's X something and then P. And he's like, and I think God isn't showing me the full thing because he doesn't want me to be like, tied into advertising for something. So he kind of gave it in this more cryptic way. But
Right,
like, what else would it be besides XRP?
right. Yeah,
So it was him, and then there was the Brandon Briggs guy. You know
yeah.
about him, right?
hmm Yeah, but you can tell that story for the audience if you want.
So Brandon Briggs was the guy who predicted the Trump assassination attempt very accurately. He said back in March of 2024, he said there would be an attempt. He would get grazed by a bullet in the ear. There would be a bunch of blood, but he would be okay. But he would fall to the ground and he would be reborn for Jesus when he was on the ground. And that's like literally what happened. Like grazed in the ear, fell to the ground, that iconic picture and everything.
Right.
So to the T. And then he also said multiple times since then that God has told him that XRP is going to be not only just a major investment that's going to help a lot of spiritual, God-centered people be able to serve God and serve humanity, but specifically, he said that God told him it would be worth at least $10,000. So there's that number again. And that there would be, from what he was seeing, a black swan, market crash cataclysmic event. And he said this would rattle humanity to its core, but the people who had XRP would not be affected by it in the same way. He said that while everything else would go down and crash, XRP would continue to go up and up. And it would kind of temporarily create this massive dichotomy between people who didn't have it and who did, but that, God is guiding people like him and like us and so many others to this for that reason.
Well, the people that do have it are going to be able to help the people that don't, because if it gets to 10,000 per coin, I mean, we're talking average people becoming millionaires and billionaires overnight, maybe not
Yep.
overnight, but whatever it looks like. So, people would have the abundance to help other people. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and I 100% agree with you that it'll help us like do our mission properly. Like there's so many things like I would love to host conferences for free and not have to like I would do more events if I didn't have to sit here and be a freaking salesman and sell tickets and convince people that it's not a waste of money and should come, because it isn't a waste of money. It's the most activating experience ever when you go out to these events.
Yeah.
If it's something happened like Journey to Truth would be everything would just be free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We could just
Yeah.
do what we do and not charge people and like
100%.
come to this event for free because we would have the money to pay for it. Like I would love to do that. And not just you wouldn't be so limited. You don't have to look for the cheap venue. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You can
Rent out
really
Mar-a-Lago.
exactly right. Um
Yeah, I
so
totally agree. Yeah, you
yeah.
we you would be free to really explore the depths of true unlimited service. And it makes me think of like, do you remember that documentary, The Venus Project? From like,
No.
oh, oh yeah, okay. I gotta go rewatch this too because I haven't seen it in like maybe 10 years, but I think it came out in the early 2000s. I forget the main guy's name. Maybe someone in the chat can put it in there. I'm sure somebody's seen it. But the Venus Project documentary basically outlined how we could have this. You remember like Ubuntu with
Yep.
Michael
Michael
Tellinger?
Tellinger. Hmm.
So kind of in the spirit of Ubuntu, similar thing, but touching more on how like AI and automation is going to help us not only create better housing and sustainable architecture and things like that, but then free up our time where if we don't have to slave away at a 9 to 5, because things are automated and all the slave jobs are done for us, all of a
Right.
sudden our consciousness is freed up to do what humans do best, which is create and lead from our hearts.
Right.
And that's where I think that this crypto thing is going to, is that it's gonna do that. It's gonna free us up so that we can actually create genuinely, give wholeheartedly, and yeah, not have to sell tickets, not have to sell things, and just give.
And get rid of the damn taxes.
Yeah. Well, that's coming too. I
But
mean, Trump's already said with American cryptos, no capital gains tax. So that's a
that's
that's a bonus.
incredible. I mean, yeah, because imagine like you can just keep what you make and you don't have to do that stupid dance every year, which is illegal anyway, which honestly, I'm really relieved to see more and more videos circulating now. People are catching on. It's catching on that tax is truly a fraud and involuntary.
Yeah.
And like there's these accountants and these people coming forward, kind of blowing a whistle on it, saying like it's your own fault if you file taxes because it says in its own verbiage that it's voluntary. It's in the fine print and there's all these legalities and yeah, it's being enforced by different, insurance companies and corporations and banks, but there's workarounds.
Yep.
And like when you get a job, yeah, they take taxes out of your check, but there's actually a form you could fill out when you get that job that they have those taxes withheld. So you don't have to, you can just take that money home with you. And there's a ways to do it. And then when you don't file your taxes, um, you just don't, you're not technically doing anything illegal. Yeah, it can be enforced, but it's not illegal. We're in this time right now where it's not going to work for everybody. It's going to work for some people to not pay taxes, but it's catching on. And eventually enough people are just going to like, screw this. Like this is
Yep.
ridiculous. And hopefully some laws like executive orders are signed or whatever, some laws go into place where we have a little more freedom there. The income taxes, maybe, we don't get rid of them entirely, but there's something there that makes the most sense that people like if you put money into your community like a tax would make sense then. Like, oh, you really are going to fix my roads. Like, okay,
Right.
sure, we can collectively pay for that, right? But it was never going towards that all along. So I think that we're going to see a shift in that arena because it literally, like, it hurts, it offends my soul when I have to do taxes. I'm like, fuck this. I can't
That's why
stand.
they hate crypto too, like the system, because they can't forcibly tax people on their crypto. Like they can go into your bank account and forcibly take money out of there or seize property or whatever,
Right,
but they can't take your crypto unless they come take your wallet from you or something.
right, right.
So I
Yeah,
think that'll be imperative to the kind of the QFS, quantum financial system, like in the first couple months or a
right.
year, I think we could see the Federal Reserve abolished, the IRS abolished, and then all this new crypto stuff come in. And that'll be what I think people are calling the QFS.
And I think moves have already been made. Like the first domino has already been tipped. And I think it's slowly been happening behind the scenes. I think there's a lot that's already been done that Deep State has just been keeping players in place to maintain this illusion of this system that's still in place. But I think a lot of it's already collapsing. All
Yeah.
these CEO recognition or resignations and there's just a number of things that have happened that like they're pretty suspicious and you have to start asking questions like, okay, like have things already shifted, but we're still being fed this lie, so it's being like co-created by us still.
Right.
Like we are literally keeping it alive by believing that it's still there, and they know that, and it's this whole black magic thing. So once those players fall and we're not being spoon-fed that same narrative anymore, I don't know if we're gonna see like an overnight shift, but suddenly people are just gonna start noticing things are different and like they're gonna just kind of roll things out in a way to where it kind of makes sense and it's not jarring if they can do it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I still think like we just interviewed Dan Cooper and he said there hasn't been a ceasefire with the deep state yet, meaning we're still technically at war with them, which would explain the fires and so until there's actually, they're negotiating a peace treaty, a surrender. They're negotiating their surrender, but those negotiations are still negotiations. Like it hasn't actually happened yet. So until then, we're going to have some moves and counter moves being made. That's why like it might get pretty messy still and not be perfect, but we know
Yeah.
beyond that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So
Yep. True. Well
yeah.
said.
Okay, one last thing. That just because I mentioned it earlier, and then we'll wrap this up. The DJT stock. So in when Trump was still president, it was Digital World Acquisitions Company. That was Trump's stock. It wasn't called DJT yet.
Mm.
And I bought in. It was kind of like on this uprise at that time, and I bought in when it was $60 a share. And after I bought in, it went up to 100 a share, and it was looking great. And then the unexpected happened. Trump didn't get reelected, and it just tanked, and it's been low ever since. And it did get changed to DJT, and that's what Truth Social is a part of. It has been absorbed into that stock, and it's an acquisitions company, so they can absorb other digital companies into that stock, right? Into that company. And what was interesting is I always check it periodically because I had lost some money on it, and I just wanted to like just at least get back to where I bought in at so I can pull out.
Break even. Yeah.
So I noticed one day that it just started going up. I was like, holy shit. Like my phone gives me the alert, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, it got up to where I bought in and above it. And the market closed for the day. So I was like, well, I'll just sell in the morning and see what happened. Well, I woke up and I forgot to do it right away. And guess what happened the next day? The assassination attempt.
That was
And
the.
then the assassination attempt happened and then it tanked again.
You think that would make it go up because he survived?
I know, but what I think happened was it was artificially manipulated. I think people
They
pumped
were
money.
ready to short it.
Yeah, exactly. People pumped money into it, like hoping that he would die, expecting him to not survive. And anyway, it was so artificial, but I found it very interesting. And if you needed a telltale sign that the whole thing was an inside job, there you go. I mean, why would that just magically happen after 4 years, 3 years of nothing, then that day before it shoots up?
Yeah, that's
So,
crazy.
but anyway, it's been ever since then, ever since Trump was elected, it's kind of been on this crawl back up.
Yeah.
And I'm just very curious to see, like, once he's actually in, if we're going to start seeing some bigger movements with that in particular. And that's why I find that stock the most interesting because I know what's behind it energetically. And that's really, where I'm at with that. I got in so long ago, I'm not going to sell at a loss, so I might as well just see what happens. But I find the whole thing very interesting how it was moving, with the attempt and everything. So.
Yeah, if anything, put more money into it while it's down.
Right. I mean, I thought about doing that, but I'm just like, I don't even want to put any more money into that market. Like, if I'm going to put money into something, it's just going to be crypto or
Yeah.
XRP.
And that's where I think there's going to be so many investment opportunities between things like that, gold, silver. But for me, like you're saying, I've been drawn back to crypto over and over because both my guidance and my research are telling me that that's going to be the number one return of investment.
Right.
Like so many things are going to do great, but I mean, for me personally, I want to generate as much money as possible so that I can build the new earth and so I can build communities and, healing centers and retreats and like really create the world we want to see.
Right.
So I want to put my money in the thing that I feel like is going to
Right.
return the biggest
Right.
amount. And I feel like XRP is.
I agree. I think I think silver is not a bad bet. I think I would
Yeah.
expect something to happen with silver. You're not going to get rich off of it, maybe, but it's definitely a good investment. I've been
Yeah.
slowly buying silver for years now, just little by little, because it's not super expensive.
And
Um,
if anything crazy happens with the sun, silver is going to
right,
be good.
right. Well, and it's something solid. You can always go sell it back and get and put that money into something else. It's not like you're losing money with it.
Right.
Um, okay, well, I guess we are going to wrap this up. I wonder what this bot boost
Where do
rumble.
you see that? I don't see that. It's in the chat.
In the chat. It's showing up. It said bot boost rumble has raided this stream, and it's a pirate ship.
Maybe Rumble's doing like paid uh if it's crypto related, because I know in the crypto meme coin circles, raids are when like a bunch of people in a community from like a meme coin will go and like comment on a post that's being raided to support it to show that they're like a strong community. And I've seen that kind of with Telegram too, like there's paid ads, so maybe it's like that.
It could be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have 444 people watching, ironically.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's awesome. Good number. Was
yeah.
there any main questions that you saw that we didn't answer in the
It
chat?
was so hard to like be engaged with you and follow the chat at the same time, but I think we covered most of it. Um, I think that's good enough for now. Just remind people one more time where they can find you, and
Yeah.
I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, so my links are down below in the description. Um, the top link there is my Calendly link, where you can book a free 30-minute consultation call with me if you're interested in joining the Conscious Crypto Academy. So that's for people that are interested. It's not like a free coaching call. It's just to vibe each other out, get a good idea of what you're looking for, and if our academy can help you out, and then you can join from there. Um, my socials are. I'm on YouTube as Cosmic Origins, Instagram as Cosmic Origins, but the O is a zero, And same thing for X, Cosmic Origins, but the O is a zero. And that should all be in my beacons.ai link in the description down there too. All my socials are there, and Tyler put my Instagram and X down there too. So I would say I'm most active on Instagram and X and Telegram lately. I'm trying to get more active on my YouTube. It's been a little bit since I've made a video, but I'll probably be putting an update out soon. And I've also got a sometime in the near future, I'm going to be doing a free crypto class. So if you don't want to book the call with me to join now and you want to wait, there's a free class that I'll have out at some point. I'm not sure when, but you can sign up to register for it. That's also in my beacons.ai link. It's one of the first links under there. It'll say like register for free crypto class. Um, so there's that. And then, yeah, you can join the Academy, link there, and follow me on socials. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm going to announce everything again that I announced at the beginning because I know not everybody was here. I'm going to share my screen real quick too. I didn't share this earlier. This is the 1 day event in February that I'm going to be hosting. It's being put on by Mary Beaver, the Matrix Rehab Tour, opening the green door, and you'll find out what the green door is. It's actually a door that leads. It's underground bases have what they call a green door. Behind the green door is all the classified programs, in a nutshell, but it's way more complex than that. So she has a very interesting story. She's a former Army intelligence, and she has been given the green light to release some classified information. And she has boxes of documents and files. I've literally seen them myself. She brought them to my house when we filmed for the documentary. She's going to be disclosing things like 200 ET species that she has evidence of that she's been shown, and which ones are here among us and where they're from, maps of the underground bases, which ones have stargates, which planets they go to, lost countries, countries that have been erased from our map or left off always intentionally. And, there's a whole, I won't even get into it all, but there's a whole theory surrounding that, why that is, and then all the spaceports that she has a map of all the world spaceports she's going to be talking to us about, talking about um, reptinoids. She doesn't call them reptilians, reptinoids and looking glass future probabilities. And it's 6 hours with a couple breaks. And basically, I'm just going to be there, introducing her and just kind of talking to the crowd in the breaks and stuff. So it's the live streaming is being done by Journey to Truth. It is Chris, the same guy that does our conferences. He's coming, him and I are going out there and we're doing the live streaming. So the tickets for the live stream are only $15. It's $50 in person. It's pretty affordable to come for 1 day. It's in Folsom, California, February 23rd. So those links are below in the description if you guys want to come hang out. And then our event, as you know, is May 12th through the 15th in Grafton, Illinois. It's our last year in Grafton. For now, those tickets are available at journeytotruth.online. If anybody's interested, come hang out with us. It's probably going to sell out this year. Tickets are moving. So grab a ticket and come hang out with us. We would love to see you there. And one last reminder, if you're looking for a great CBD, Hopewell Farm CBD, we are partnering with them and there's a 15% off sale for all their products and that ends tonight at midnight. It's fantastic CBD. The skin ointment, the salve is amazing. And they also accept crypto payments, which I don't know many places that are even really accepting crypto payments yet. So that's
Awesome.
pretty cool. And the end.
Awesome.
I think that's it. So thank you guys all for being here. We love you. We can't do this without you. And if you're wondering where Aaron is tonight, he had a family emergency and he's taking care of his parents right now. He's okay. Everything's fine for now, but he could not be here tonight. And I will ask everybody here just to take a moment and send Aaron and his family some prayers because they need it right now. It's a tough situation, but everything's gonna be fine as we know. And we'll just send Aaron some blessings right now. And I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys. We love you. And until next time, have a great evening. And I need to get to the page so I can even shut this off first. All right. Good night.
See you guys.
Hello, and welcome to Conference Phone. If you know the name of the conference you'd like to attend, press 1.
Come on.
Using your touch-tone keypad, please enter the first 3 letters of the conference title now. You've selected Secret Space Conference? If that is correct, press 1.
What?
You've selected Full Disclosure Now. If this is correct, press 1. Why don't you just tell me the name of the conference you'd like to attend?
Rebels of Disclosure?
To find the venue nearest you, please enter your 5-digit zip code now. Why don't you just tell me where you want to attend the conference?
Pierre Marquette Lodge and Conference Center?
Rebels of Disclosure is playing at the Pierre Marquette Lodge and Conference Center in Grafton, Illinois, May 12th through 15th, 2025.
Yeah, now I got you.
If you would like to purchase tickets, please visit journeytotruth.online now.